Severe weather warnings across multiple states. Thunderstorms, extreme heat, flash flooding possible. That's what we are dealing with this week, and it's worth paying close attention to. I've examined the latest data from the Bureau of Meteorology, looked at the current models, and analysed what's happening right across the continent. This is a complex setup, and I want to break it down properly so you understand what is coming and when. Right now, conditions across Australia are incredibly varied, and that contrast is actually part of the story here, because what we're seeing is a collision of different air masses that's going to drive some significant weather over the next several days. Brisbane has been absolutely copping it. 38 degrees with humidity that makes it feel even worse. That warm, sticky air has been parked over southeast Queensland for days now. Some areas south of Brisbane saw pea-sized hail last night, which tells you the atmosphere is already unstable. When you get hail in these conditions, it's a sign that storms have enough energy to punch through despite the heat at the surface. The Sunshine Coast hinterland hit 34 degrees by 11 this morning. That building towards another scorcher. Meanwhile, further north around Mount Carbine, they're sitting at 29 degrees with 83% humidity and 17 millimetres of rain overnight. The monsoon moisture is well established across far north Queensland. Out in the Northern Territory, Darwin and the top end are deep into the build-up. Humpty Doo copped 77 millimetres overnight. That is a fair bit of rain, and it's just the beginning of what looks like several wet days ahead for the Territory. The monsoon trough is active and not going anywhere fast. Compare all that to what's happening in other parts of the country. Parts of northern New South Wales dealt with what locals are calling a freight train thunderstorm yesterday afternoon. Heavy rain, strong winds, the full package. Now they're re-cleaning up with very humid conditions lingering. The contrast here is significant. You've got tropical moisture and heat dominating the north and east, while other parts of the country are in completely different patterns. That's about to change as multiple systems interact across the continent. Let me get into the meteorology, because understanding what's driving this helps you see why the forecast looks the way it does. We've got a couple of key features at play. First, there's a strong heat trough extending through inland Queensland and into New South Wales. That's been drawing very warm air up from the interior. At the same time, there is abundant moisture streaming in from the Coral Sea. When you combine heat and moisture like this, you get atmospheric instability. The air wants to rise, and when it does, you get storms. The latest Access model and the European model are both showing a surface trough deepening over the next 48 hours. That trough is going to act as a focus for thunderstorm development. We're not talking about isolated afternoon storms. We're looking at organised systems with the potential for severe weather. The GFS model is slightly more aggressive with the timing, bringing the most intense activity through Tuesday into Wednesday. The Access model is a bit slower, but both agree on the overall pattern. Heavy rainfall, strong winds, large hail and flash flooding are all possible with these systems. Upper level conditions support this as well. There's a jet stream maximum position just right to enhance lift in the atmosphere. When you get upper level support combining with surface instability, that's when you see the most significant storms. Now let us break this down by region, because the impacts are going to vary considerably depending on where you are. Starting in Queensland, southeast Queensland is already dealing with heat and humidity, and that continues through today. But tomorrow, storms develop. We're re-looking at widespread thunderstorm activity from the Sunshine Coast down through Brisbane and into the Gold Coast. Some of these storms will be severe. Large hail is possible, as we've already seen hints of. Wind gusts could reach 80 to 100 kilometres per hour in the strongest cells. Rainfall totals of 50 to 100 millimetres are likely, with isolated areas potentially seeing more. The timing looks like late morning into the afternoon tomorrow. If you're in Brisbane or surrounding areas, you'll want to keep an eye on the latest warnings from the Bureau. These aren't your typical summer afternoon storms. They have the potential to be quite intense. Further north from the Wide Bay region up through central Queensland, you're looking at similar conditions but with even more moisture available. Townsville and surrounding areas could see persistent heavy rain from embedded thunderstorms within broader rain areas. This is monsoon-influenced weather, so it's not just about the storms. It is about prolonged periods of heavy rain that could lead to flooding. Far north Queensland, you're already in the thick of it. The monsoon trough is active, and that means continued wet weather. Cairns, the Tablelands, Cape York expect regular heavy downpours over the next several days. Rainfall accumulations of 100 to 200 millimetres are possible by the end of the week. Some areas could see more. Rivers and creeks will respond. If you in low-lying areas or near waterways, monitor the situation closely. Moving to New South Wales, the northern half of the state is where the action is. After yesterday's severe storms, conditions remain unstable. Further storms are likely today and tomorrow, particularly across the North Coast, New England and northern tablelands. The Hunter Valley could also be affected. These storms have the potential for damaging winds and heavy rainfall. Flash flooding is a concern, especially in areas that saw heavy rain yesterday. The ground is already saturated in some spots, so it won't take much more rain to cause issues. Sydney and the Central Coast sit on the edge of this activity. You'll probably see storms develop, but they are less likely to be as severe as what the north experiences. Still, any storm in this environment has the potential to produce heavy rain in a short time, so don't be complacent. Southern New South Wales and the ACT are looking at a different pattern. You are on the southern side of the system, which means a shift to cooler, showery conditions later in the week. Not as dramatic, but a noticeable change from recent warm weather. Victoria is in a transition zone. Melbourne and surrounding areas have been warm. 32 degrees is well above average for this time of year. That changes midweek as a cooler southerly pushes through. You'll see showers and thunderstorms ahead of the change, then conditions settle down with cooler temperatures following. By Thursday, Melbourne will be lucky to reach the low 20s. Gippsland and the northeast could see some decent rainfall from this system, 50 to 80 millimetres in some areas. For regions that have been dry, this is welcome rain. For others, it might cause localised flooding, particularly in catchments that respond quickly. South Australia, you've had relatively settled weather. Adelaide sitting at 24 degrees and sunny sounds pretty good compared to what is happening elsewhere. But you are not immune. A weak front moves through midweek, bringing showers and a slight drop in temperatures. Nothing severe, but enough to notice. The mid-north and Riverland might see some storms on the northern edge of the system. Western Australia is largely separate from this eastern weather pattern. Perth and the southwest have been bone dry. 3 months with minimal rainfall is taking its toll. The gardens are struggling, dams are getting low. Unfortunately, this system doesn't help you. You are waiting for the next series of fronts to come through, and that doesn't look likely until next week at the earliest. The Pilbara and Kimberley are in their wet season, so you'll continue to see storms and heavy rain in typical tropical fashion. Tasmania, you are dealing with your own cold air mass. Hobart saw -2 degrees this morning, frost across northern suburbs. That cold air is entrenched, and while the mainland deals with heat and storms, you are in a completely different weather regime. Some showers are possible midweek, but overall you stay cool and relatively settled. The Northern Territory, as mentioned, is wet and staying wet. Darwin, Katherine and right across the top end, expect the monsoon pattern to continue. Daily thunderstorms, heavy rain, high humidity. It is the wet season, and this is what it looks like. Water pooling in low-lying areas, roads cut. The usual challenges, if you're travelling in remote areas, check road conditions before you go. Now let's talk about the specific hazards, because understanding what you're facing helps you prepare properly. Thunderstorm hazards first. When we talk about severe thunderstorms, we mean storms capable of producing damaging winds over 90 kilometres per hour, large hail 2 centimetres or larger, and heavy rainfall leading to flash flooding. All three are possible with this setup. Large hail is a particular concern for southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales. Hail that size damages cars, smashes windows, strips vegetation, and can injure people caught outside. If a severe thunderstorm warning is issued for your area, get inside. Put your car under cover if you can. Bring in outdoor furniture and anything that could become a projectile in strong winds. Damaging winds are another threat. 100 kilometres per hour gusts can bring down trees and power lines. If you in an area with old or diseased trees, they at higher risk of coming down. Power outages are likely in areas hit by the strongest storms. Charge your devices now, have torches ready. If you rely on power for medical equipment, make sure you have a backup plan. Flash flooding is the third major hazard. Heavy rain falling on already saturated ground or falling faster than drainage systems can handle leads to rapid flooding. This is particularly dangerous because it develops quickly, often with little warning. Never drive through floodwater. If it's flooded, forget it. That's not just a slogan, it is serious advice that saves lives every year. For those in flood-prone areas, now is the time to review your plans. Know where the water goes in your area, know your evacuation routes. If you're told to evacuate, go. Don't wait until the water's at your door. Heat is another significant factor, particularly across Queensland and northern New South Wales. We're looking at temperatures in the mid to high 30s with high humidity. That combination is dangerous. Heat stress, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke are real risks, especially for the elderly, young children, and people with existing health conditions. If you're in these areas, limit outdoor activity during the hottest parts of the day. Stay hydrated. Check on your neighbours, especially older folks living alone. Make sure your mates are doing okay. Keep pets indoors where it's cool. Livestock need access to shade and water. The humidity makes it worse because your body can cool itself as effectively through sweating. Even fit, healthy people can struggle in these conditions. Don't underestimate it. Fire danger is worth mentioning, though it's not the primary concern with this wet pattern. However, before the rain arrives, hot, dry and windy conditions in some areas could still elevate fire risk. Check the fire danger ratings for your area. If there is a total fire ban, that means no fires whatsoever. No barbecues, no mowing on extreme days, nothing that could start a spark. Once the rain arrives, fire danger drops significantly. But in the lead up, particularly in areas that don't see rain until later in the week, stay vigilant. Let me give you some specific timing because knowing when things happen helps you plan. Today, Monday, Australia Day. Storms are already developing across parts of Queensland and the Northern Territory. Brisbane and southeast Queensland see increasing storm activity this afternoon and evening. Northern New South Wales continues to see unstable conditions with further storms possible. Heat persists across much of Queensland and inland areas. Tomorrow, Tuesday, this is likely the most significant day for severe weather. Southeast Queensland from the Sunshine Coast to the Gold Coast sees widespread severe thunderstorms. Large hail, damaging winds and flash flooding all possible. Northern New South Wales also at risk, particularly coastal and northern inland areas. The Hunter Valley could be affected. Far north Queensland continues wet and stormy. Wednesday, storm activity shifts slightly south. Central Queensland and wider areas of New South Wales see thunderstorms, some severe. Victoria starts to see showers and storms ahead of a southerly change. The change brings cooler air to southern Victoria by evening. Brisbane and southeast Queensland still seeing storms, but intensity may ease slightly compared to Tuesday. Thursday, the southerly change is the main feature, moving through Victoria into southern New South Wales. Cooler temperatures follow. Showers and isolated storms continue across central and northern New South Wales and Queensland, but the most intense activity starts to ease. Tasmania sees some showers as a weak system brushes the state Friday into the weekend. Conditions gradually settle across the eastern states. Showers linger in some areas, but the organised severe weather eases. Temperatures moderate to more typical levels. Far north Queensland and the Northern Territory continue their monsoon pattern, but that is normal for this time of year. This is a complex multi-day event. It is not a single system passing through. It's a combination of heat, moisture and atmospheric dynamics creating repeated storm development over several days. That means you need to stay informed, not just check the forecast once. Practical advice. First, stay updated. The Bureau of Meteorology updates warnings regularly. If a severe thunderstorm warning is issued for your area, take it seriously. Download the BOM app if you haven't already. It's free and gives you location-specific alerts. Second, prepare your property, secure loose items, bring in furniture, trampolines, anything that could blow away or cause damage. Clear gutters and drains so water can flow. Trim overhanging branches if you can do it safely. Third, have an emergency kit ready. Torch, radio, first aid supplies, enough food and water for a few days, medications, important documents in waterproof containers. If the power goes out for an extended period, you'll be glad you prepared. Fourth, charge your devices, phone, tablets, portable chargers. If communications go down, you want every option available. Fifth, check on vulnerable people, elderly neighbours, mates who live alone, people with health conditions. A quick call or visit could make a big difference. Sixth, know your risks. Are you in a flood-prone area? Do you have old trees near your house? Is your roof in good condition? Understanding your specific risks helps you prepare appropriately. Seventh, don't take unnecessary risks. If a severe storm is approaching, get inside. Don't stay outside to film it. Don't go storm chasing unless you are trained and equipped. Every year, people get hurt doing things they shouldn't during severe weather. For those with livestock, make sure animals have access to shelter and water. Storms can cause debris to block water sources. Fences can be damaged. Check your property after storms pass. If you're travelling, plan around the weather. Driving in severe storms is dangerous. Low visibility, flooded roads, debris on the roadway. If you can delay your trip, consider doing so. If you must travel, allow extra time and drive to conditions This system deserves your attention. It's not the end of the world, but it is significant. You've all experienced severe weather before. Many of you remember the big storms, the floods, the heat waves. This sits in that category of events you prepare for and take seriously. The good news is that after this system moves through, conditions settle down, the heat breaks, the storm pattern eases. By the weekend, much of the eastern seaboard is looking at more pleasant conditions. For areas that have been dry, particularly parts of inland New South Wales and Victoria, this rain is welcome. 50 to 100 millimetres makes a real difference to soil moisture, farm dams and vegetation. It's not drought breaking, but it helps. For areas that need more rain, particularly catchments that are already saturated, this is a concern. Flooding is possible. Monitor river levels and local warnings. The Bureau of Meteorology has done an excellent job tracking this system. Their warnings are based on solid data and good modelling. Trust the official sources. If you see conflicting information on social media or elsewhere, go back to the Bureau's website or the emergency services. One final point on the heat. Temperature swings are happening across the eastern states. 30 degrees one day, 18 the next, then back up again. People have been getting crook for weeks. Flu, sinus problems, headaches. When your body is constantly adjusting to different temperatures, your immune system struggles. After Thursday's cooler change, that pattern should settle down. Temperatures become more consistent, which should help. This is a significant weather week. Multiple hazards across multiple states. The timing varies depending on where you are, but the overall message is the same. Pay attention, prepare appropriately, stay informed. Don't panic, but don't be complacent either. If you see something that concerns you, report it. The Bureau relies on observations from the public to verify what the models are showing. If you see a funnel cloud, damaging winds, large hail, flooding, report it through the official channels. Check the thumbs up if this information was helpful. Check back for updates as the situation develops. Conditions can change quickly with severe weather, so what I've told you now is based on the latest data. By tomorrow, we might have better clarity on exact timing and locations for the most severe weather. Look after yourselves, look after your mates, look after your property, and let's get through this weather.